Greetings all you gorgeous garden gnomes. I hope that you are having a great day, and I hope that you are starting to look forward to spring as temperatures here anyway are hovering around being warm and then cold, and it gives us a little taste of what's to come.
Your petals may fall, you may will.
In this video, I'm going to be going over a research article that looked at the effectiveness of gardening as a physical intervention for the prevention of adverse health events. Before we get into the content of this article, please plant the like button, cultivate the subscribe button, and harvest the bell. Cancer and cardiovascular diseases continue to be the first and second causes of death in Canada. But this doesn't need to be the case, as about 40% of cancers are preventable by changing modifiable risk factors. Better yet, about 80% of heart attacks and strokes are also considered to be preventable if people follow certain healthy lifestyle behaviors. Health factors that we don't necessarily have control over are things like our genetics that make up our gender and sex, our race, ethnicity, and we can't control our family history. Another is our age, though with advancing medical technology and real-life vampires, maybe this will be something that we can change. The health factors that we do have control over and have a great impact on our overall health are things like diet, physical activity, smoking status, and our sleep. All of this information is readily available to us in this age of technology and information, as it can be found with a simple Google search. Yet, people continue to struggle to achieve the recommended daily physical activity requirements, to eat a varied diet rich in fiber, or achieve an adequate amount of sleep. A relatively recent development in medicine is the use of prescriptions for physical activity and exercise, and even prescriptions for healthy eating. Now, in my experience previously working in a gym who accepted exercise prescriptions, the retention rate of these individuals was relatively low. One of the main reasons that the retention rate was significantly lower was that once the prescription ran out, finances became a barrier to that healthy behavior. A similar sentiment was expressed to me by clients coming through this program who had been instructed to purchase and consume more fresh produce. As the majority of research for physical activity improvement has been focused on gym setting interventions, this has also become sort of the default recommendation of many healthcare professionals. But could an intervention that combines physical activity with food production be an effective strategy to combat these common causes of death? This study, which is an observer-blind, randomized control trial, sought to answer just that question. This study was run in Denver and Aurora, Colorado. After screening for eligibility, the study researchers recruited 291 participants, randomly assigned them to either the gardening intervention group or the control group. The gardening intervention group took place at 37 urban community gardens run by Denver Urban Gardens, or DUG. Participants in the intervention group also received a 10 square meter garden plot, seeds and seedlings, and an introductory gardening course provided by DUG. The study was completed in 3 waves, with each wave being one growing season. This allowed the researchers to also offer participants who were in the control group a plot in the next season's gardens. The study had 7 primary outcomes: fiber intake, combined fruit and vegetable intake. The next was healthy eating index, moderate to vigorous physical activity, sedentary time, BMI, and waist circumference. Dietary intake was collected via random and unannounced 24-hour recalls by phone. And no, unfortunately, French fries and fried onions didn't count as part of the fruit and vegetable consumption. To measure anthropometrics, participants had their height measured to the nearest 0.1 centimeter or 1 millimeter. Their body weight was measured to the nearest 0.23 kilograms or half a pound. Waist circumferences were also measured to the nearest millimeter. And then finally, their BMI was calculated using their height and weights. Physical activity was assessed using a thigh-mounted accelerometer. The participants were required to wear the device for 7 days immediately following each of the assessments. To be considered as a valid day of data, the devices needed to be worn for at least 10 waking hours. Moderate to vigorous physical activity was defined as a stepping cadence greater than 75 steps per minute. The authors also looked at two secondary outcomes that were perceived stress and anxiety. Perceived stress was assessed with the Perceived Stress Scale 10, and anxiety was assessed with the General Anxiety Disorder 7 scale. These scales were completed at each assessment time point. So to understand the effects that the gardening has on perceived stress and on perceived anxiety, the researchers took the participants' scores from their second or third tests and subtracted their first tests. And for both scales, higher scores indicate greater levels of perceived stress or anxiety. The significant takeaways from this research were that individuals in the gardening group had higher levels of fiber intake, greater fruit and vegetable intake. They achieved more moderate to vigorous physical activity and had greater reductions in perceived stress and anxiety. At the start of the intervention, the gardening group were consuming about 22 grams of fiber in their diet. Well, at the end of the intervention, the gardening group had increased this to 23.21 grams. Though gardening didn't seem to have an effect on the intake of fruits and vegetable servings, they still consumed more fruits and vegetables than the control group. Between the first and second assessments, the gardening group increased their moderate to vigorous physical activity levels from 53.8 minutes to 54.9 minutes per day, while the control group experienced a decrease of about 5 minutes of physical activity per day. So in conclusion, if you are looking to improve your health through physical activity and nutrition, starting a garden may just be the prescription that you need. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you enjoy looking into these research articles that are discussing gardening and health. If you want to see more content like this, please leave a like, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Whenever you are watching this, I hope that you have a great rest of your day or evening, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Don't matter if you don't know. He'll push through all of your lows. Your petals may fall.